What's going on, y'all? Today, we're going to talk about what makes Jensen Huang such an effective public speaker and communicator. We're going to reverse engineer what he's doing right so that you can take whatever is relevant for you and implement it in your world. So that we can look at this with some common language and also to help us organize our thinking, we're going to evaluate some different clips using my framework, the 7 skills of tonality. They are resonance, articulation, imagination, mindset, intention, subtext, and stakes. And you're going to see how he's implementing this positively reflexive system every time that he opens his mouth. And what's the result? The most valuable company in the world with an absolute rocket ship of an ascent the past couple of years. All right, let's dig in. Jensen exemplifies what I think of as the high energy voice. This is a voice that immediately signals confidence, competence, presence, focus. And high energy does not mean that you are speaking as if you are high on methamphetamine. It just means that you are fully there in the moment and you are able to express all of the enthusiasm and focus that you have without losing emotional control. So, first, let's listen to Jensen's resonance.
The amount of software work that we do in the company now supported by agents is incredible. One engineer, a really good engineer today, is working with an agent, but a really great engineer in the future is going to be orchestrating a whole bunch of agents who are going to be orchestrating a whole bunch of sub-agents to do work. Well, between the amount of computation and the amount of demand use going up, the product of that's our demand. And so we've now arrived at the era of useful AI, which is really exciting for all of us.
One thing that stands out is that Jensen's voice never fails. It's always clear from the start of the sentence through the punctuation at the end. And every syllable in every word, you can hear the tone of his voice, whether he's speaking softly or whether he is being more declamatory and really being a showman. You can always hear him clearly. He doesn't sound like he is putting on any kind of a false voice. It's not performative in any way. A lot of times when guys want to make a change for the better for their voice, they'll shove it way down in the basement. He's speaking in his natural range. And the reason that you can tell this is because, one, there's no strain in his voice. The quality of it maintains throughout every one of these engagements. But also you can hear that it has flexibility. There's a clearness, a clarity to a voice that is speaking inside of its authentic, natural range. There's a balance, and what's being balanced is light and dark. So if there's too much light or brightness in the sound, then it'll be kind of like this, and if there's too much darkness in the sound, it'll be like, but a voice whose resonance is well balanced is going to have both of those qualities present at the same time. And that's only possible if you are speaking inside of your authentic range or inside of your natural range. Jensen also articulates really well what he's saying. And I don't mean this in terms of how concisely or with how much relevance he says what he says. That's figurative articulation, as I refer to it in the 7 skills. What I'm talking about here is literal articulation. Articulation is the muscle memory, the coordination by which we make the sounds that form words. You can understand everything that he says. It would be easy to transcribe him. Articulation is important because sound travels on vowels, and that's where we build the coordination. That's what we organize the training of an individual's resonance around, is how they shape and make vowels. Coordinating your articulation properly is important because it allows the resonance that you develop to remain uninterrupted throughout a word or a sentence. When you combine these 2 skills, that means, if nothing else, you are always going to be able to be understood. When you combine these 2 skills, you also give yourself the ability to create a lot of contrast in how you're saying what you're saying. If, for example, you want to speak really quickly, then you can with much less risk of losing comprehension. When you have your resonance and your articulation on the same page, that helps you to do what I call speaking in the same font class. So something that can pull listeners out of the moment is if the way that you say a word or pronounce something doesn't match with the rest of your sound. This would be like taking the font from the Lord of the Rings, one letter or one word, and putting it into the Power Broker title. It's going to jar your attention. You're going to be like, "Wait, that doesn't go there." This doesn't mean speaking monotone. We want this consistency no matter what pitch, what volume, what speed you're talking at. And coordinating your resonance and articulation allows for you to have a consistent true north for your voice. The first two of the 7 skills are hard skills, but skills 3 through 7 are soft. So, where we can definitely hear in what Jensen is doing how close to the mark he is in his resonance and his articulation, the rest of these skills, we're going to have to speculate a little bit. They deal more with an individual's psychology and their subconscious than they do the actual coordination. The reason that they are so critical is because your voice tells the world who you are. And no matter how dialed in your voice is in terms of its optimal coordination, if your subconscious is believing something that isn't congruent with the sound that you're aiming for, that's going to be a bottleneck. Since imagination in this context is the vocabulary that an individual uses to describe their sensations of intentional voice use, aka how you know you're doing it right. We can only hear that from Jensen himself. So, Jensen, if you're watching this, I would love to know how you experience your voice and what, if anything, you are thinking about it when you're using it. Now, mindset is the transcription of the dialogue that is running in your brain. If somebody is in a situation where they have to use their voice and they are telling themselves, every time that I open my mouth, I embarrass myself, or my voice is so ugly, nobody wants to hear what I have to say, I'm so boring, etc. We're going to be able to pick up on this.
You're going to put something that you know for certain is going to deliver the tokens per watt, that you know for certain is going to allow you, from the moment you secure the capacity, we're going to be able to stand up an entire factory for you. We're the only company in the world that can come into your company and help you stand up an entire AI factory.
So what does it sound like to me that Jensen's mindset is overall? Probably something along the lines of, I'm so excited to share this message today. These people need to hear what I have to say. This is going to change the world, and I'm so excited that I'm the one to share this news. I'm so proud of what we've done. It's going to make such a huge impact on everyone's lives for the better, and I can't wait to tell everyone about it. So while leveling up in the hard skills of resonance and articulation is something really high leverage that you can do to raise the floor of your, let's call them worst reps when you're public speaking, if there's one skill inside of the 7 skills of tonality that I think makes the biggest overall impact, it's the skill of intention. So there's 2 levels to intention, and the one that we're going to focus on here is the macro one, or the second one. The first one is have a specific action in mind for your listeners to take when they're done listening to you. For all of these, we can imagine that that's some variation of buy more of his stock or go use your favorite LLM even more. But the macro intention ideally is that you are speaking not because you want to be validated, but because you want others to win. Somebody who is speaking so that they can be validated just gives off neediness. Great leadership is about service. And when you start making the macro intention for all of your communication that you want others to win and not that you want to be validated, it puts a fork in the road for you that you can either be of self or you can be of service. Now, the 7 skills is a positively reflexive system. So anytime that you level up in one of the skills, it's going to impact positively all of the others. The skill of intention in the 7 skills makes such a difference because just by adopting that frame that you would rather be of service than of self, it eliminates any possibility for a negative mindset, thus telling your subconscious, hey, I'm the one to deliver this message, and this message needs to be delivered. And when you can train that to be the default for your self-talk, there's way less friction for you to not only find, but stay in your natural, most authentic voice. So much of effective public speaking and communication is unlearning what's unnatural. Everyone is a powerful communicator when they come out of the womb. When a baby wants something, They are not shy about getting it. Subtext is what you say that isn't in the transcript. It's the current underneath all of your words. It's the implied question embedded in every sentence. One thing that I learned about Jensen from the Founders Podcast episode on him is that Jensen is a teacher. That's how he sees himself. And that becomes really clear when you listen to him speak.
Way we go to market very differently in each one of them. The easiest go to market, of course, is the hyperscaler because there are only 5 or 6 of them. But the rest of them, the rest of the industry represents a couple of 250,000 companies around the world. That go to market is very complex, very diverse. Your understanding of AI has to be extremely diverse. And as you know, Nvidia has the largest suite of acceleration libraries in the world, from computational lithography to fluid dynamics to particle physics to molecular dynamics to the list goes on.
The implied question, the subtext for a teacher is, does that make sense? Are you with me? You see how this comes together? Something like that. It's warm and it's inviting. Now, the seventh and final skill is stakes. What's the cost of our micro intention happening or not happening? The lowest level of stakes is something inconsequential. If XYZ doesn't happen, then my coffee is cold. A higher level is if XYZ doesn't happen, then you, me, everyone that we love dies. The highest level of stakes is not life or death, it's eternal damnation or eternal salvation. If XYZ doesn't happen, not only does you, me, everyone that we love dies, but we're all either going to spend forever burning in hell or in heavenly paradise. And that's not to say that you need to communicate at that highest level of stakes all the time, because it's just not that serious. It's important to experiment with given stakes, because only by pushing the boundaries of something can we figure out where the middle is, where that Goldilocks area is. And so understanding what the stakes are for the message that you're trying to communicate helps you clarify what your micro intention is and also what your mindset is. It also helps you to build empathy with your audience by understanding what matters most to them so that you can shape your message accordingly. Without relevance, you're just making a lot of noise. That's something that Jensen does really well. He's continually reminding us why what he's sharing matters for what our goals are. I hope this has been helpful for you. If you want to implement my framework, the 7 skills of tonality, for yourself or for your team, let me know. Shoot me a message and let's find some time to talk. Glad to see how I can help. All right, y'all. Find your voice, unleash your voice, go forth and speak boldly.